All right, so here's you got a SIP wall here. This is an OSB skin on the interior and the exterior. This is basically what it looks like. There's a foam on the inside. Now this is actually spline material, and so where these panels come together, I've got two panels right here. We'll use these splines to create the structure between them. So this will actually fit within the two different panels, and we'll nail through here to create that structure. Other areas we may need to use 2x10s or other framing members for additional support, but a lot of times we can use this, and this will eliminate that thermal bridge. This guy here, this is one of the headers that we're using in this house, and so you can see that this is an insulated header. I've got LVL material on both sides and styrofoam in the middle. So again, the headers is an area where you're going to lose a lot of energy. A lot of that heat transfer goes through that header because it's often solid wood. But by doing it this way, we're again reducing that thermal bridging. These panels are 10 3/8 of an inch, and we're going to achieve an R39 with these walls. Code in this area is R21 for your exterior walls, so we're exceeding that by quite a large margin. In addition to the additional R value, in a traditionally framed home, you've got studs every 16 inches. And everywhere there's a stud, that's a potential for heat transfer. Here, I don't have any studs from this point right here to there. So that's 3 feet, no studs. Over here, where I've got no windows, I've got another 5 feet without any studs. So we're able to reduce the amount of heat that's getting lost through these walls. Well, not only by having fewer framing materials in there, but by having that increased R value.
And so talk about structural strength enhancement with these walls.
Structurally, these panels are incredibly strong. This is a solid home.
It's rigid.
It is rigid.
Yeah. Wind is not going through this stuff.
The wind is not going through this stuff. After we have one of our inspections, we're going to be taping all of these seams to further reduce the transfer of air at these intersections. And that's just one additional piece of the puzzle that we're using to keep this house as close to net zero as we can.
Let's go outside and look at this one laying on the ground here. It'll give us a different perspective of how thick and huge these things are. So obviously you need some heavy equipment to be putting these things up, right?
Yes.
This isn't a two-man job.
No.
Hence the additional costs?
Well, it does go faster because, I mean, this is one of our roof panels, and so this is actually a 12-inch roof panel. We're going to get R49 on this roof, and you can see the construction here. I've got my OSB ice cream sandwich, and this panel here probably weighs about 600 pounds ish. So we do need heavy equipment to set these panels, but you can see the size of this panel. I've got 20 of these panels to set, and that's it. I'm done with my roof. So there's additional cost savings because I don't have to hire an insulator to come back and insulate this house. It's already done. So
there's no additional insulation on top of this.
There's a little bit of insulation. There's a few areas in this home where the SIP panels just they can't fit everywhere, and so I will need to insulate strategically in a few areas. But that insulation cost is going to be minimal. It might take a day, but it certainly reduces the need for an additional insulation in the attic and in the walls.
Sure. So it strikes me also that this is not a mass-produced product and that you probably need some planning time to get the stuff ordered and planned for. Is that true?
That is very true. This is a very custom product. These panels are made in Montana, and they are made to order. We spent several weeks going through the process to fit the panels to the architectural and the structural drawings. But when they showed up on site, each panel is designed to lock right into the next panel.
So each panel has a place. It isn't just they're all the same shape.
Absolutely
like
not.
build a house like Lego blocks.
This panel, for example, is 18B, and so if I were to look at the plans, I could tell you where on the roof 18B is. Each of these other panels, this is 13.2, and so I know that this panel goes right there. Every panel has their own specifications for the framing members that needs to go inside of it, and its connection to the adjacent panel. So there is quite a bit of planning that goes into creating a SIP home, but once you've got all the pieces, they go to it's like a big puzzle.
So how popular are these? It makes sense environmentally, long term, good for everybody, but how many people are actually using this approach anymore?
Over the course of our home rights history, we've probably built a half a dozen homes with SIP panels. So not very many, but it certainly is a very effective way to do it. It's not for everybody, but
Is it becoming more cost effective as more and more people choose this approach?
yes, it is. The more people do it, the more framers who are able to install this product, the more costs are going to go down.
Justin, because you're building this thing so weather tight, what other impacts or implications might there be?
Well, Steve, with this house here, because we're building it so tight, it doesn't breathe. There's no air transfer, except for if you open a door or you open a window. If all the windows and doors are closed, this house will not breathe. So because of that, because we're building this home and a lot of our other homes so tight, we need to install a mechanical ventilation system. So within this house, we're going to be installing a system that will help this house breathe. It will bring in fresh air, it will exhaust stale air, and it will also be tied into the bathroom fans and a few other strategic areas so that we don't have to worry about CO2 levels building up, and we can have a house that will breathe fresh air.